All right, so now we are here, and the first thing is going to be understanding the story, understanding the scene. And as we said, there's always conflict resolution. In conflict, again, it doesn't have to be anything, but really it's going to be sort of like, well, here we introduce something new that still hasn't been resolved, and then it resolves, right? And that happens at every level, at the macro level, that is like the movie, right? And within it, just seeing almost in every phrase, it's a conversation. A conversation, that's what it is. It's a question, it's an answer. So that's what we have to identify, because when we identify those micro questions and answers, then musically we can follow that action, because music is also question and answer, question and answer, question and answer many times. Or it's something that we can do musically. It's very simple. It feels very natural. And that is what we are going to be doing now. It's a way, you're going to love this. It's a way that's going to simplify a scoring and a scene a lot for you. And then it's going to make it super easy for you, because once you understand, okay, in these next 3 bars, I've got this question, and then the next 3 bars is kind of like resolution answer, right? Then you can plan musically, all right, so here's what I'm going to do. And you don't have to improvise on top of the scene. It's not going to feel like you're going to pull up the scene and going to start improvising, see what. No, you're going to have a really clear plan of action of what to do every bar. All right, so let's watch the scene first. I know that you have no context, but still this shouldn't stop you from being able to understand what's going on in this scene and to understand the structure. You can see that a little bit here because I already structured this, so we can move faster in this training.
Excuse me, Miss Green, Michelle. I think we got off on the wrong foot.
I suppose we did. It's Miss Green. I'm a widow.
Okay, sure. But you didn't have to call management. We could have worked it out.
I didn't call management.
It's that Helene. She can never let things alone. You know, some people always got to stick their nose in other people's business.
I'm pretty sure she was just looking out for the new girls on the block.
Yeah, sure. If almost getting me fired means looking out for someone these days. Anyway, I'm sorry you were loud, and then I got upset because you don't know how to move in quietly. You want me to apologize to you, girl?
No, it's fine. I'll let her know how contrite you are. Come on, girls. We're running late.
Hey, Channing. You know, your mom's a real piece of work. No wonder your dad left y'all. She's just...
You have no idea what you're talking
Hey, you
about.
better
Hey,
watch
loser. You provoked her.
No, I told her the truth.
Get in the car, girls.
And you better get a handle on her, otherwise I'm gonna call the cops.
Now let's take a look again, and let's start setting markers. Right, in the spotting notes, they want a shock and a scare here.
Excuse me.
And she's like, but she doesn't react too much, and they wanted to emphasize this a little bit. So that's what I wrote here, right? So M9 in, so here's where the music ends, and then it's gonna be shock, all right? So that's what I did. And remember, one more time, what I'll do is I'll find the spot where I want the marker, I'll hit M, I'll write the name of the marker, done. Okay, now in this case I have all the markers, so we can move faster in this training, but still we're gonna watch the entire thing, we're gonna analyze, we are going to understand the structure of the scene. Here we go.
Excuse me, Miss Green, Michelle. I think we got off on the wrong foot.
I suppose we did. It's Miss Green. I'm a widow.
Okay, sure. But you didn't have to call management.
All right, cool. So there's a conflict in the resolution. There could be 2 conflicts here, right? It's like, it's Miss, it's like, and she's like,
It's Miss Green. I'm a widow.
it's Miss Green, a widow. All right, so this kind of like resolves the problem or the question, or right. So this could be one thing, or the other thing that we could have here with the conflict and release or resolution,
Green, Michelle. I think we got off on the wrong foot.
which is, hey, I think we got on in the wrong foot, and then she's like, yeah, maybe we did. Right? So that could be the same thing as well. They both happen at the same time. And you have to understand, when they were writing the script, they are not just writing words, right? Every word that they write is because, right? There's a reason why it's important for us to know that she's a widow.
Miss Green, Michelle. I think we got off on the wrong foot.
But it's important in this scene for this character to say, hey, I think we got off on the wrong foot, because that is what starts the conversation and it leads to the next problem, which is, but you didn't need to call management, right? So every piece of dialogue is there so the story moves forward in a logical way, and also so it can prepare for reveals later on, all right? So it doesn't really matter, but basically we've got a problem and then there's a resolution, right? So then it keeps going.
Suppose we did. It's Miss Green. I'm a widow.
Okay, sure. But you didn't have to call management.
All right, but you didn't have to call the management. Okay, problem again. See, and so just so you see, to me, it's always the whatever is it me or in this conflict resolution, right? Conflict resolution, conflict resolution, conflict resolution, always, right? And then if there's more stuff, there's conflict, increase of conflict, then hold, hit, stinger, things like this, right? But C and R is always to me is like conflict resolution or conflict reveal. So now management, conflict resolution. You'll see how here's where we resolve the
Management. All right, we could have worked it out.
I didn't call management.
It's that Helene. She can never let things alone. You know,
right? So conflict resolution, but then this creates another conflict. The Helene problems, like
she can never let things alone. You know, some people always got to stick their nose in other people's business.
I'm pretty sure she was just looking out for the new girls on the block.
see, so knows in other people's business, and then it's like I'm just pretty sure that he was, let's keep going.
Sure. If almost getting me fired means looking out for someone these days. Anyway,
Fired, conflict. Anyway, resolution, okay? So, and look at every reaction. Many times it's more important not the person who's talking, but how the other person is reacting. And that is why the camera is not always on the person talking, but also in the reaction of the other person. You can see it here.
I'm sorry you were loud, and then I got upset.
I'm sorry that you were loud. And she was like, man. Look at all these small little things and details, because that's what's going to give you clues of what's really happening in the scene, right? And then that doesn't mean that you have to hit that musically. Sometimes you may.
I'm sorry you were loud, and then I got upset because you don't know how to move in quietly. You want me to apologize to you, girl?
No, it's fine. I'll let her know how contrite you are. Come on, girls. We're running late.
Hey, Channing.
By the way, the entire scene, there's tension, right? And that tension can build, or release, or, also that in a macro level in the scene, it's going to also dictate the direction of the music. But let's continue.
It's fine. I'll let her know how contrite you are. Come on, girls. We're running late.
Hey, Channing. You know, your mom's a real piece of work. No wonder your dad left you.
Clearly, like the second part of the scene, right?
Hey, Channing. You know, your mom's a real piece of work. No wonder your dad left y'all. She's just...
You have no idea what you're talking about. Hey, you provoked.
Still conflict, obviously, right? But it's like a higher level of conflict. That's why, your mom conflict, your mom double conflict, and then...
her.
No, I told her the truth.
These don't release to me, they still hold. The tension is still there. We're still in this theme. Your mom is hold.
Her.
No, I told her the truth.
Get in the car, girls.
And you better get a handle on her, otherwise I'm gonna call the cops.
Boom. To me, this moment is like, gonna call the cops, hit. And I would hit at this cat, because the way this looks is like this is a threat, right? This guy is a threat. And so, boom. Now, to me, from here till the end, it's just basically building a stinger and boom, cut, right? Because the next thing it's a completely different scene, right? We're in a different place and it's very different. So a stinger that creates tension and then we're out. All right, so with all these markers set, but they are not like where we want them to be in terms of like at the downbeat of this bar and then the next one downbeat of that bar. And we would like for the music to like kind of like naturally or seamlessly fit together with the structure that we just designed. We're gonna do that with tempo. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're gonna feel the tempo. Here, feel the tempo. So basically, just remember the scene and feel what would be the tempo, right? And to me, kind of this is the tempo, more or less, right? It's like, okay, cool. And then just set the tempo, around 70 or something like this. And this is how it feels.
Excuse me, Miss Green, Michelle. I think we got off on the wrong.
So I set the tempo, this first one, and then literally what I did is like, okay, we've got a tempo, then move the cursor right after this tempo dot and hit T, and then just move it up and down. So I think I set it at like 73, and then I started moving it down, 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 and there's a moment where boom, there are many of these markers that will just naturally fit, and it is beautiful. Not always happens like this, but I found that 68 for the next few bars, it just worked out perfectly. And then whenever I needed to adjust more things, right, I set a new one here. These guys did not fit perfectly, and then I adjusted this one for the next following markers, and on and on and on. All right. Now with that, we would be done. But what I like is, for the downbeat of each bar to naturally feel like the musical change. So sometimes I'll change the time signature. So that's why you see 3-4 and then 4-4, then 5-4, then 4-4, 3-4, 5-4, 5-4, 5-4, 5-4, 4-4. Do it in a way that's the most natural possible. Now in this case, there's quite a lot of change here. It's not perfect. It's changing almost like it's 2 bars of 3-4, then 1 bar of 4, 1 bar of 5, 1 bar of 4. So basically this is all 4-4, 4-4, 4-4 with a 1 of... Now, this is not going to be a big problem for this scene because we don't have a pulse. If we have a pulse, try to keep it a little bit more symmetric, right? But in this case, this is like the final result. Again, it's not perfect, but it works. Cool. That's it. We've got this structure, and this is the most important part. It has 2 parts. It's one that's a little bit more creative or analytical, which is understanding the structure in terms of like what's happening dramatically in the scene. And then there's the second part, which is just a little bit more about the craft. Just basically setting the markers, giving it a name, and then adjusting the tempo and time signature so the markers sync with the tempo. That's it. All right. Now in the next video, we're going to start composing. See you there.